Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Influence, a social media podcast with Abby Jean and Nate. Over the last couple of years, the world has evolved from going shopping in the store to ordering everything online. Social media not only became a place to shop, date, explore, and advertise, it became a place where we are captivated by a salmon rice recipe, and we are all basing our day around whether or not a 13-year-old pug woke up with bones or no bones.
But do you ever wonder how regular people who live regular lives shoot to internet fame overnight? How a trending song turns into thousands or even millions of followers? Do their lives really change? And if so, how? Let's talk about the shift from a 9 a.m. meeting to please like, share, and comment. We're diving into the world of social media with your favorite influencers. This is The Influence, a social media podcast.
Hi.
Hi, friends.
How are you? How are you, Nate?
Doing great. Happy Monday morning.
Happy Monday morning. I love Monday mornings.
They don't suck as bad now that there are new episodes of The Influence
Correct.
every
That
Monday.
is exactly why I like Mondays now. How'd you know?
I had a hunch.
You had a hunch.
Oh gosh.
So, Nate, what's in your drafts today?
Well, if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you know I have a best friend named Dash, my little
Dashy.
Chihuahua mix. He's about 18 pounds. Could probably afford to lose a couple, but about, I guess, almost 2 weeks ago now, he jumped off the bed and injured his spine. And it was like the most terrifying, saddest thing that's ever happened to me. He couldn't walk. All of a sudden, he was dragging his hind legs behind him. He couldn't even stand upright. He'd fall right over. Like the drunkest dog that you've ever seen,
dog,
but like
Dashy.
sad, not like funny. So I scooped him up right away. I'm crying, could barely drive, and we get to the med vet, and you know they do their best to like assess and do some X-rays, and you know it's a condition that a lot of Chihuahuas get just because of their build and their body type, but basically it's a slip disc, and it's a lot more serious in dogs than it is in humans just because of the build of their body, and they've got horizontal spines. So I was pretty devastated at first, but and you know this, I was like beside myself. It was terrible.
I was gonna fly to Ohio.
Yeah. You were like ready to purchase a ticket.
Yeah.
You know, the doctor decided to just do a medication therapy to start with and see if he would start to heal on his own. And then, you know, based on what percentage of his mobility he regained, you know, we could decide if surgery was an option or kind of how to proceed from there. And I mean, his progress has been amazing. Thank God. It's been about 12 days. He's walking and standing upright and just like a little tipsy, and it's like funny now. It's not sad anymore. So
I know.
I'm like praying that the recovery continues, and you know, we won't need to consider surgery because that's another trauma that I don't really want to put him through. And the recovery from that is much worse. So thank God he's sort of continuing to recover, and people have reached out when they saw it on Instagram, and super grateful for that. And you know, he's got his spunkiness back and his personality. So
yeah, he's got the sparkle in his eyes.
He does. He's a strong guy. He's like muscular too. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Little Dashy
boo boo
Dashy boo boo bear.
Yeah.
We love him.
So that's like been the entirety of my last 2 weeks podcast and Dash's recovery. So any pet parents know it's a serious sitch here.
Poor dog had a drunk mom for a long time.
Oh God, same. That's why I like anything. I can't re-traumatize him on things. I feel too guilty about it.
We gotta keep it happy.
Abby Jean and I both are are sober now, and you've heard us say that before, but I went to an inpatient rehab facility. And
Yeah.
when we were driving there, and my sister drove me there, but my best friend took Dash for 6 weeks, and I was like bawling my eyes out leaving the
Yes.
house and was like, I just want to be a better dad to
I just
Dash, like as I was
yes,
leaving for
yes.
rehab. And we kind of chuckle about it now, but I was
I know.
serious. Like I was dead serious.
Totally. Totally. I'll be back. Mommy will
I'll
get
be
better.
back. He'll be back. I promise.
Daddy's gonna be better.
And then when I got back, I was like planning to record our reunion, and I was like, oh, he's going to be so excited. And I walked in the backyard of my friend's house, and he was like, what's up?
What's up?
Kept
He's just like,
walking.
he casually just like,
Yeah.
hey.
Oh, you're back. Cool. I was like heartbroken.
Yeah. Yeah. How
Where
was
were
your
ya?
stay?
Where were ya?
Rehab. Really?
Yeah.
So funny.
Oh God. What's in your
Wild.
dress, Abby Jean?
Well, we're recording this right before Thanksgiving, and I found out yesterday that I not only have to make Thanksgiving for the first time, but I have to make Thanksgiving for Honey's family. There's going to be about 10 people.
Okay, that's huge. 3 days before Thanksgiving.
I have a plan in my head though. Are you ready?
Tell us.
So obviously I immediately called my mother.
Of course.
Duh. Option 2. You know when you go to Goodwill and there's like all those like crystal dishes?
Yeah.
And like I'm going to go buy a shitload of those.
Yes. From someone's grandma that's got like some meaning behind it.
Totally. I'm going to pick up I'm going to get a gravy boat, nice dishes. Your girl throws together a charcuterie board like no other.
Love it.
And I'm going to just put a Thanksgiving on like I do this all the time.
Yeah. Like, this is another Thursday. Right.
Exactly. And they'll be so impressed by my dishes that no one will even know that the
perhaps
food's not
the
good.
Potatoes. Could the potatoes use a little salt? Maybe. But
right?
Look at the fucking dish they're in.
But look at my crystal
Sally
dishes. So it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Everyone is so impressed by a salami rose that it really doesn't matter anyway.
Amen. Couldn't agree more.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they're going to walk in, see salami roses, get some cheese and crackers and some spinach dip, and they'll be happy. No one's even going to be hungry by the time dinner is served.
If not, they can hit the road.
Yeah, that's my plan.
God. Well, speaking of hitting the road, our favorite TikTok runner and New York City Marathon badass and Today Show guest, goodness,
Ryan Seacrest.
Wow. And now The Influence, a social media podcast.
I mean,
Erin Azar, better known as Mrs. Space Cadet. You know her. You love her.
And today we're going to talk to her.
We are.
I'm excited. I followed her for a long time.
The journey. I can't get over it. And I revisited most of her videos for the recording today. And God, it's
what a journey.
Emotional and triumph and glory and sadness. And God, it's so good.
It's so good. It's like a movie. And even like when she was posting like clips of her during the marathon that day, I was like, that must be the most incredible feeling. Like running through New York City. And then when she crossed the finish line, let me tell you, I was at work, but I was not working. I was crying.
Yeah.
And it was just so magical to be a part of. Let's take a peek behind the upload with Erin Azar.
This is Space Cadet.
Like, how did we get from just living your every regular day life to then running the New York City Marathon, absolutely killing it, and then meeting with Hoda?
Right. Yeah.
Hoda. Like, how did we get here?
Yeah, I actually started on social media, technically on YouTube, and I was just posting really random videos just about my day. I have 3 little kids. At the time I had 2, and I was pregnant with my 3rd. And it was a little rough at times because I was working from home. I had, 2 little kids. So what I would do is I would just film my day. I would edit it in kind of a humorous way and I would just send it to my friends or like post in a Facebook group or send it to my mom and kind of just like have it to look back and laugh at in a way. Cause
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, some days as a parent, you can either laugh or you can cry. So
Yeah.
I choose to laugh. And so I was used to being on camera because of that. But then after I had my third baby, I was in that postpartum period, which is like, I didn't have postpartum depression. I didn't have postpartum anxiety, but it's just the sheer exhaustion and, trying to take care of your other two little ones when you have a new little one. And it's just a lot of pressure. And I didn't have maternity leave. Yay. So I was also working like a couple days after having a C-section.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so I was not feeling good. And so I kind of felt like, since it was at this point, maybe like 3 or 4 months after that, I felt like, okay, I think I just need to get out and get fresh air, get some exercise in. And I didn't have time to go to the gym or really money. And we don't live near a gym anyway. So I just put on my shoes, and I always mention in interviews that they had holes in them. My sneakers had holes in the side and you could stick your finger through
Wow.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just put on like my old baggy clothes and I just tried to run. And in that moment, I just had a little bit of like mental clarity, or, it kind of relaxed me a bit to where I wasn't like, like white
yeah.
knuckling it through my
Yeah.
day. And so I went home and I told my husband, Dan, I was like, we have to make time for this. Like, even if it's 20 minutes a day, I need you to take over, when you get home from work, and I'm going to go do this. I don't care what the weather is or anything. And so, of course, in the nature that I post videos, I made it humorous, even though it's hard.
Yeah.
But I found it really difficult at that time where I started running. It was very isolating because I didn't have a friend that was running. I didn't have, when I went to social media to find someone relatable, there was nobody. At this time, it was mainly the YouTube mom
Yeah.
culture was very aesthetic. It still is,
Yeah.
I feel like. I mean,
Yeah.
no hate to them at
For
all,
sure. Yeah.
but some of us can't really attain that.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like left me feeling a little down about my pace and about how I looked while I ran. And so since I couldn't find anyone that I was searching for, I'm like, I'm just going to post it then. I'll be that person. I'll put myself out there. Then maybe I can find a couple people like me and we can talk about running and being moms, or just being like a little overweight trying to run, which is, kind of
Fun
hard when you're
also.
starting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I posted that same content that I was posting on YouTube, like me trying to run. I posted it on TikTok. And that one of the first run videos, I remember it blew up to over 1 million views in like 4 hours.
Wow.
Stop.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Oh
So,
my God. No
right. At
way.
that point, I'm 36 years old. I'm a mom of three and I'm blowing up on TikTok. I'm like, I
Killing
think,
it.
This
yeah, I'm
isn't
like,
supposed to happen.
I'm like, I had said to my husband, I'm like, I think something is wrong with my account, because every time I would go through, I would like all the comments and everyone was actually being really nice. So I'm like, oh, this is
Oh,
really cool. And I was having fun going through the comments. And then, but when I left the comments and went back to my home screen, it still said 99 plus at the bottom. So I'm like, I
wow.
think it's not working because I just went through them and I know that I like them all.
I've got
And
him
it's
all.
still saying, yeah. So I'm like, I'm just going to come back later and figure it out. I probably have to like do a support ticket or something. And
That's
then
so good.
that's when I noticed the number going up. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the views. It's actually going viral. And that just like blew my mind. But once I digested it, I was like, I'm onto something here. I'm not the only one that's searching for really raw, completely unaesthetic
Yes.
Yeah.
content, like about running and life in general, honestly. Like a lot of people that follow me don't even run and don't care to
Yeah.
run,
Right.
which I love.
I
Yeah.
think that, to your point, something so relatable about the humor side of it, of course, I think probably brings in a good amount of people. But just the relatability, and you're running and crying at times, and it's true life, real life stuff, and emotions and daily life stuff, I think too, that you bring into the run or talk about before the run, or this is why I'm running today. So I think it's cool to use that to relate to millions of people.
Yeah. I feel very lucky that I took that step, and also that I filmed from the start of the running thing.
Day
Like,
one, I love that.
yes, and my husband was like, "Why are you filming that?" He was always kind of like, "Oh, you have no," because I don't get embarrassed. I have like zero humility. I don't care if someone judges me. I've been telling people lately that say if they tell me I'm scared to run because people will see me, I don't want them to look at me or make fun of me. I'm like, if you are truly focused on your journey, you won't have time for the judgment. Like, there is no time to even care about the judgment. And you'll see that you're better off even worrying about that quote unquote judgment, when honestly, everyone else is just trying to get through their day too. They are probably not even paying attention to you running.
Right.
So just get out there.
Exactly. Once you started picking up the steam and that quick first viral video, did you see the growth with each following video, or was hit and miss at first? Or let's talk about how it continued to grow.
Well, I didn't have any expectations in terms of growth, because I wasn't on a platform that grew like that before. So for me, being on YouTube, I mean, you guys know, like, your subscribers don't even see your videos a lot of the times. And there's no way that they're just going to randomly push out your video to somebody.
Yeah.
Well, God forbid,
Right.
So for me, I was like, even if I got one follower in a day, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, it's just another normal video, and I got a follower. So I guess, to answer your question, in my mind, the growth was like really continuous, but I think to someone else who was already like seasoned in, going viral or in social media, they'd be like, it's hit or miss. I was just amazed that I was like getting a follower here and there. I did notice that those running videos, and the more I stayed consistent with it, I think people started to follow along, because I tend to get invested in people on social media.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you guys.
Sure.
Right. If someone's following a journey like Abby, the Key West video, because I gave up drinking like a few months ago. I would drink. I was like a daily drinker, or if anyone was having a drink, I'll have a drink. But it was your Key West one. And you were like, I got up and I was like, no, I'm not gonna be here anymore. But I get invested in that, because you're on like a journey, you're not drinking, and well, you have a lot of journeys, but
she does. I know. I was like, which journey are we going to talk about here?
That was the one that closely related to me, so I picked that one. But there's a lot of people that maybe they start like a small business, and they're a little worried about it, and you see them grow, and so I just get like really invested in people. And I think that's what kind of happened with my platform, is people, even if they weren't running, they saw that I was like putting myself out there, and I had this goal, and just wanted to kind of like stick around and see how it went.
Especially because I started following you a long time ago, and it was actually Tree Tunnel Vibes for me, Tree Tunnel Vibes for you, that got me, because I'm from New England. I miss seeing all of that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, and she's doing such a cool thing. And I was, I had that image in my head of you crossing the finish line at a marathon, what have you. And so and things got canceled, and exactly what you said, I was super invested in all of this, and I just wanted to see that for you so badly. So then I set an alarm on my phone for the day of the marathon, and then I was at work, and I'm like texting Nate, and I'm like, it's happening.
Oh my god.
Because you had agreed to be on, I think, the podcast at this point.
I did,
prior to the race. So we were like, my god, she's there,
and we were just cheering you on. I'm at work, and people are coming in, and I'm like, just one second, my friend Erin's gonna cross the finish line. And it was just so amazing.
And when you crossed, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Line.
I was like, how I edited that YouTube video and I posted like the clip on TikTok as well. That's like literally what was playing in my mind as I was crossing is
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
running in the rain, running in the snow, crying, like
Yes.
all that, like
Oh.
things being canceled. It was, so I was like trying to, you know, like share that with people that have been following me for so long, because
Yeah.
I feel like you guys get it.
Yes.
I feel like we went through it together. So that's whenever I get to do something, I'm like, hey guys, we are going on the Today Show.
Yes.
We
Yes.
are going on a long run, because like I said, it can be isolating at times, but I feel like I have
Totally.
all these friends with me at all times. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I think something fascinating about the whole, social media personality and influencer side of things is people, a lot of regular people just think that like their followers are only their family and friends. And then when you hit this level of people who follow you, who are millions of strangers, for lack of a better word, but
Mhm.
you, to your point, are able to sort of take them along for the ride and create these relationships with your supporters and your followers. And I think it's just profound how you can use it for something positive and taking them on that ride. It was so beautiful. We loved it.
Yeah. Thank you guys. It was really amazing. And before I forget to make this point, I've been wanting to make a video about it, and I kind of I think posted on Instagram maybe, but the comments and direct messages and everything for so long. I mean, people say I got them through the pandemic. I'm like, no, immediately no. Like you got
Immediately, no.
me. You got me
Yeah.
through the pandemic. You know, with like those messages and everything, but something like, I don't know if it's the imposter syndrome or what, but in the back of my mind, it still wasn't real until I went and ran the marathon and saw all the Mrs. Space Cadet
Yeah.
signs,
Ugh.
all the people screaming for me, crying that like they happened to catch me. So then I'm
You.
crying and I'm, you know, getting selfies with them and everything. So all of that like press and like People magazine, like, you know, because stuff that I
Yeah.
never, New York Times, right? When
Yeah.
would I
Yeah.
ever have thought I'd be in that? But all of that still didn't seem real until that marathon. And I was hugging real people that follow me.
Yeah.
And like, I could tell that they knew me. They knew my journey. It was like the emotions were flowing, the tears were flowing.
I love it.
Yeah.
But so then that next morning of the Today Show was the first one that felt real. Because I
Yeah.
was like, I met these people
Yeah.
and they are real. And this Today Show is real. So when I was like in my delirium of that interview, I was like, this is real, 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 real.
Real-
Or so, I don't know how many
real
times.
stuff.
The realist.
Yeah, it was really crazy. And yeah, I'll never forget that marathon because it was like that big goal that I, you know, was working toward, but mainly because it made my audience real. It made everything real. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, and there's such a difference between seeing a number on a screen on your phone
Mhm.
opposed to seeing someone in front of you crying, doing your pose. They made a sign that, and then you
Yeah.
go over and hug them. It's like something tangible for you in
Yeah.
real life. So
Very
that's
tangible. To
incredible.
where if my videos now, I don't know what happened this last week, are getting like, no, when when you look at your analytics,
Yeah.
sometimes it'll just be like all following. I'm like, oh, some of them are literally profile page. So like the only people seeing them are
Oh.
the ones going to my profile to check if I posted something. But that would usually make me a little upset, like at TikTok. But
Yeah.
after meeting these people in person, I'm like, if I get one view, or I should say two, because one is mine.
Yeah.
If I get 2 views, that's
Views.
amazing to me, because that real person that, hugged me in the marathon and we cried together, that could be that person. And to me, that's better than a million views, because
Yeah.
it's so
Totally.
meaningful. It just really put things into perspective. So I hope like other influencers listening would, that maybe also got started in the pandemic. I think that was my issue, is when I took off, it was like during the pandemic. So like, I hope that can like resonate with them, that even 2 views on a video those 2 people could be like, you could be saving their day, just
Yeah.
like our audiences save our day a lot of times.
And I think it's nice to have, I mean, I've said it before about TikTok, where before on other social media platforms, like you were saying about YouTube, it's extremely difficult to reach your people and to find your group of people. TikTok essentially brings you all together. You know, if you, as you're scrolling and liking, you can find your community of people where you can all be yourselves, and you all have, you know, maybe not exactly the same thing in common, but like for you, I mean, you were on this journey. I'm on a huge life journey too. So seeing someone, and it's almost refreshing that it's not essentially the same thing, but I can relate to you having a bad day and all of those things. So with TikTok especially, it launches you into this world where you can then hone down and find your group of people,
Yeah.
which I think is great.
It really is amazing. As much as I, curse the algorithm sometimes, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it really is amazing. Like, and that's what makes it like that. That's what makes us able to connect to either, like-minded individuals, or just find people that we can relate to, and you don't necessarily have to think the same. You know what I mean? You might
Yeah.
be on like
Yep.
maybe a similar life journey or facing similar challenges in life. I feel like as humans, we just need, or I know me anyway, if I'm going through something rough, I seek out other people that are either going through it at the time or have gone through it. I feel
Yeah.
like that's very therapeutic,
Yeah.
just to know like you're not the only one. I spoke at a women's conference and they were like, "So, do you have to pay to get on this national press? Like, how did you get on the Today Show and People Magazine? Like Ryan Seacrest, right?"
Yeah.
So, I know that people do pay. I've actually been approached by, I won't name like PR agencies, but you know, $2,500 a month before they even get you in,
Wow. Wow.
Really?
right? I'm like,
I'm trying to
"Excuse me?"
make money here. No.
I'm like, that's 2 of my mortgages. I cannot
Right.
afford that. And at the time, I also didn't really have anything to put in, I'm like, why would I be in there? I'm not, but like, now I'm, raising money for charities and doing all
Yeah.
this stuff. So it made sense, but you never know who is watching your videos, because Talia Minsberg, who wrote my article in the New York Times, her friends were sending her my videos. Not
Wow.
like, "Hey, write an article on her," but just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you run, isn't this funny? Isn't she funny?"
Right.
And so she put that, I'll always be so thankful to her. It was like an amazing article in the New York Times. But that is what set the day after that came out is when the Today Show contacted me.
Wow.
And then when I was on the
Wow.
Today Show, I don't know the order, but it was like then Ryan Seacrest, then People Magazine, that it was like this snowball effect.
Yeah.
So you could be having like 10 views, but one of those people could be a journalist, or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
and you have a story that they want to tell. And now I'm starting to see a lot of people from TikTok on like the Today Show and
Yeah.
other shows like the Drew Barrymore show,
Yeah.
like really fun things like that, which is cool to see.
It really is.
And it's just so funny because what timeline are we talking about right now? A year and a half? And all of
Right.
this has happened?
Right. Yeah. And then
That's crazy.
really, if you want to just talk about the press, it was
Yeah.
September 22nd that the Times article came out.
That's crazy. That's
Right.
crazy.
Right. So that was like, and then the day after the marathon, the morning after the marathon was like the actual Today Show when I was like in the studio, because the first one was virtual. So I still credit Talia from the New York Times.
Love it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy too, because I think for a long time TikTok had this like weird, oh, it's an ad dancing app for kids. And
Yeah.
I remember even like I was trying to explain it to my mom, and like people weren't I don't think people were really taking it seriously until, I don't know. Like I imagine working at the Today Show and then being like, we need to do something, and then you see like New York Times wrote an article about Erin, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, where is Erin from? And they're like, she's from TikTok. And they're like, what? Like,
Mhm.
TikTok now kind of has that reputation of building these brands and quote unquote
Mhm.
celebrities and all these things. So I think people are taking it more seriously now.
I
That's
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like hard to deny now that
yes.
as opposed to Facebook or Instagram, TikTok is like, if you're creating, it is
Yeah.
a platform for
Mhm.
creators, and you kind of sink or swim. So it truly brings to the surface and helps to publicize talented creators. And I think that it's to a point now where it's just, you can't deny it anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, I do think people that aren't on TikTok still do think that it's
Yeah.
not like a serious thing and you can't really
Yeah.
like get, grow a brand or a business on there. But I do feel like that's changing. And these like media outlets they're gonna have to connect with Gen Z eventually. Like
Yep.
they're
Yeah.
getting to the age of they will be watching maybe the Today Show or Good Morning America or something like that. So to have TikTok on there, maybe someone that's like my age, but on the TikTok platform. So you can
Yeah.
connect with an audience of millennials and you can connect with an audience of Gen Z. I mean, it's a smart move. And I think we're going to start seeing it a lot more in the coming months and years.
I do too.
I really am happiest when I'm creating. When I got my first brand deal, I told my husband and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they actually agreed to this price? Like,
Yeah.
what? It takes
Amazing.
me a long time to make that money."
To make
Yeah.
that much
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then he was like, "Oh, wow." Like he was really happy for me, but he still didn't get it. He's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, that maybe it's a one-off thing or something," but he's like, "Okay, you need me to help you film? Okay, I'll hold the camera," type thing.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, that was a year ago, a little over a year ago. And now he has this like really nice camera and he's like following me around. We're making, YouTube videos and he is like all in. He loves it now. Like
Dan,
it's
I see you.
so, yeah, Dan. And so he doesn't like, it's not like I could be like, "Hey, let's learn this TikTok dance."
Right.
Although
Right.
I do think that we're getting
He-
close to that.
Okay.
I
Ooh.
So
I
I don't know.
I was gonna ask you to tell us a secret, but I think that counts.
That's it.
Yeah, so
Stay
don't
tuned.
I think
tell.
you could get
Yeah,
it.
don't tell Dan, but I think he's gonna do a TikTok dance soon.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's good. That's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's really, I mean, that's
Even
big.
when he does like a little peace sign to the camera, everyone's like, "Oh, it's Dan.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there he
I
is."
love him.
You can relate
Yes.
to that, Abby Jean. Everyone's
Oh
like,
yeah.
Honey,
Honey.
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 Yes.
Honey saw a person in real life and they were like, "Honey." And he
Oh
was
my
like,
God, I love that.
"Oh my God, who are you?" Like, oh, I
Oh,
forgot to
that's
mention that you have a
amazing.
lot of internet friends.
Yeah, whoopsie, failed to mention.
That is
Right.
so awesome.
Not promising any quality, but
Yeah.
he's,
No, it doesn't matter.
the
It doesn't
effort.
The effort. Do you have any weird, like, someone coming out of the woodwork story that happened upon you? Maybe someone from back in the day or when you grew
Yeah.
up, anyone that kind of
Mm.
resurfaced?
Not necessarily that, but there's specific people, mainly like kind of older, that when I mentioned like, "Oh, I got 1,000 YouTube subscribers," because I was like doing YouTube for a while, and they're like, "Yeah, but what could you do with that?" Or like, or
Yeah.
when I actually started making money on TikTok and they heard about that, I'm still talking about the same person.
Yeah.
They said, made sure to mention how fleeting that could be, or
Right.
how,
God.
that's not, a guaranteed thing. I'm like, "Oh, I forgot that you're old and you don't realize that when you were my age, companies worked for you. You had
Yeah.
pensions, you had benefits, you had all this stuff guaranteed to you."
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
not the case anymore. Sometimes even teachers, like they'll get screwed out of a pension now.
Mhm.
It's not the same work climate as it was. So my job, I mean, it was a small medical device company. The goal of any small medical device company is to get bought out by a big medical device company.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on, dude. Like that, my
Yeah.
job's not guaranteed either. So why
Yeah.
not do something I like doing? But I really don't appreciate those little remarks, because when you're starting out, and that's when he made this remark when I first started making money doing this.
Yeah.
I of course had tons of self-doubt. I still have a lot of self-doubt. I have
Yeah.
major imposter syndrome. So that's not helpful. Thank you. I already have enough.
Yeah.
I already tell
Yeah.
myself that enough. I don't
Right.
need you telling me.
Yeah.
That's a great point. It's like everything evolves, and it's
Mhm.
like you sink or swim. So
Yeah.
if there is this popularity, and for I think you or anyone to not to capitalize on it, that would be the silly part, not
Mhm.
Not
believing in
to.
yourself, and
Yeah.
not to.
Right.
So not that the external validation is why we do it, but I think to have that positivity and that support surrounding your content, I think.
Yeah. It's I think it comes down to just people not understanding social media and that it can be a business. For like I have a designer, she's my friend. She
Yes.
gets a percentage of my anything with her design. I pay her a percentage instead of just like, yeah, thanks for that. Okay,
We'll buy
bye. I'm
coffee.
like,
Right.
no, every month, like I'm going to pay you.
Yeah.
People that help film, like if I bring them to New York City, I am paying your hotel room, which is not cheap. So
Yeah.
I'm employing people.
Mhm.
Thankfully, I have very creative friends I met along the way and can pay
Love that.
them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing, accounting and invoices and all that. So I didn't realize like, wow, I am running a business. Like I'm a
Yeah.
businesswoman.
Hell yeah, you are.
But that's like that goes to my point that I didn't even really understand that it's a business. So I guess how can I expect, like a 70-year-old family friend to
Yeah.
also understand that it's a business?
Everything we've all been is like you got to go to college, you got to get a job that has a 401k, then a salary,
Yes.
and then you have to plan for your retirement. And then if you don't do that, you fail. You
Yep.
don't. And so now when you have these opportunities, you're like, wait a second. That's actually not how it is. But
Right.
that makes
or
people
or
very
do I want to
uncomfortable.
do that at all? Like,
No, no.
Yes.
I just don't,
Yeah.
to your
But
point, I'm
that,
happiest when I'm creating, and
yeah.
Mhm.
to be able to do something that you love every day, I think that's the dream, right?
Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. Abby, that is exactly my experience too. In
Yeah.
high school, it was all like if you were either like you had a skill, which I didn't, like the people
Mhm.
with the skills, like they could do hair and nails. They
Yeah.
went to tech school and
Tech. Yeah.
and they did their talent, like they used their talent there and they
Mhm.
went on to have like a successful career, maybe open a salon. And then
Yeah.
the people that could build things, they went to tech, and or they could like, I don't know, rebuild a motor.
Yeah.
There's certain kids that like they are
Just like
good and
real
they,
good to that.
yeah, and they could go to tech school and be
Yeah.
successful and make good money. And then
Mhm.
there's people like me. I cannot do hair and nails. I wish I could. I
Yeah.
can't like work with my hands that well. I don't understand how to do that type of thing, but
Yeah.
I'm really creative and I feel
Mhm.
like I'm personable, and but all that really got suppressed because of the adults in my life and my teachers and counselors all saying, if you want to succeed and make a steady income, it has to be in like the STEM uh, field specifically. So I went into college for 2 years, almost 2 years, undeclared major. And
Yeah.
then I finally picked, okay, well, I am passionate about, the environment. So I went for environmental biology, and, it's like, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that
Totally.
for my job.
Well, and while you were doing that, you're still like a kid.
Yeah. We
Like I
expect kids
remember.
to know what they want to do the rest of
Yes.
their
At
lives.
18 years old, come
Yeah.
on.
Right.
I remember, I'll never forget the first night of college, and my parents were like, "Okay, have fun." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, you guys aren't going to stay here? I'm
Right.
supposed
Yeah,
to just like feed myself and
terrifying.
know what I'm supposed to do?"
Oh,
No.
yeah.
So I think, I mean, it's just evolved so much, and the way that it is now, I mean, it's especially our generation, like you want to have that family time and be able to work, possibly from home or
Mhm.
a little bit at home and have that lifestyle too, and instead of like being in an office and 9 to 5 and being miserable all day.
Soul
and a job
sucking.
that
Soul
it's
sucking.
soul sucking.
I'm
Mhm.
so glad that we are moving away from that. You know, I think a work-life balance was such just a buzzword before, but I feel like that's truly where things are headed. So grateful
Mhm.
for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are people, like I know specific friends that genuinely enjoy their office job. You know, they like
Yeah.
what they do, and which is amazing. But I think as a society, I'm so glad we're realizing like that is not for everybody. And you
No.
don't need a job like that. Like now with this, you know, working from home, and there's a lot of people that left their job and they start their own like freelance career, which
Yeah.
is amazing. I've been seeing a lot of that on TikTok. So I feel like people are finally, you know, saying screw the status quo. If it doesn't fit you, don't force yourself into it.
Erin, what's one thing you want your followers to hear or take away from you today on the podcast?
Oh, one takeaway. I would say I just kind of want to reiterate the following, just focusing so much on the journey that you don't see the judgment. Because I want to stress that more, because that was super important to me getting started. Because like I said, you know, that family friend who was, you know, a little making a somewhat negative remarks. I don't know if it came from a spot of like jealousy that like I had to bust my ass in a job that wasn't really great and you're just doing what you love and making money, or if he just genuinely didn't understand and was a little concerned for me. But either way, that wasn't the only person. So there was a lot of judgment, and I feel like there maybe still is. But I am so focused on what I'm doing and I love it so much that I don't have time to let it affect me. So I feel like that can be applied to so many things.
Oh, I love that.
I love you guys.
I love you. I'm
let's
so
just
happy.
let's stay on and just chat
Yeah,
forever.
I know.
The three
Well,
And Nate, your nails are amazing,
Oh,
by the way.
thanks.
They match your sweater. Did you do that on purpose?
You know, Abby Jean, you know, she turned me on to these all my fucking new nails. So I just
love
started
it.
doing the gel.
Yeah.
But I do like a matte finish on top. So it probably looks a little darker than it
Wow.
actually is, but it's
Oh,
close.
okay.
Yeah.
It's like a navy blue.
Yeah, on camera, maybe it just it looks
Yeah.
more like slate gray. And I was like, oh, wow, that's like edgy.
It's got a
I know.
little
His
sparkle
nails
to
last
it.
forever too.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I love
Yeah.
it. Fancy.
Fancy. Well, hey, I wanted to extend an invitation to when you hit 1 million followers to come back and chat with us.
Oh my gosh. I love how you said when.
Yes.
Am
of
I?
course.
That's like not if. Okay.
Of course.
baby.
Now I'm gonna check where I'm at now. I think I have a while, but hey, I am so down to come back. This
Okay,
was
yeah.
really fun.
I love it. We're so happy that we got to chat with you today.
Yay. Thanks, guys.
Mrs. Space Cadet, Erin Azar. Erin, such a pleasure. Really, so fun.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Hi there. Thanks so much for listening today and supporting the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button now so you never miss an upload. We're back every Monday with new episodes available wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Also, follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Social Influence Pod for the latest updates on the show and to let us know what influencers you'd like to hear from. Head over to iTunes to rate and review The Influence, a social media podcast, and we'll see you next Monday for another peek behind the upload.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. This is the motherfucking new podcast.